we got to get into some negative stuff now, I guess.
What's negative this
bro.
week?
we can blur you out here.
I'm gonna just put the shades on for a second, bro.
My initial, I swear to God, this is the first words that come out of my mouth when we scored that 10th point. I go, we were up 10-0 last week.
So you're the reason why you jinxed us.
I think I jinxed us, yeah. So I'm already kind of putting the blame
What
on
happened
myself.
to the optimism, bro? Like, you said that you. Come on, bro. What happened? I was relying on you, bro, to be optimistic. We needed that.
Hey, y'all told
I've been optimistic for 6 weeks.
y'all told me keep the faith. Y'all told me hope.
Keep the faith. Still, keep the faith, bro. Welcome back, guys, to episode 4 of Breakin House Rules. It is me, Vaughn, Dre, and Cam. How we feeling, fellas?
Pretty damn good.
Good?
Feeling good. Feeling good.
Pretty good. I thought I'd feel worse today. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. It's been a week. It's been a week for the Dolphins, and we'll certainly talk about that.
Right.
Another loss for the Fins. Vaughn, you suffered a little
injury.
injury. Little injury, and we'll talk about that throughout. Halloween's coming up.
Yep.
We got a lot of good vibes there. We're gonna talk some costumes, some fits, crazy things around the league. Guys celebrating before Hail Mary, D-Wade statue. But first thing I wanted to touch on is we're about a week from the election. And I think this is a great topic for our show because
for sure.
It's a topic people don't like to talk about.
Right.
It's like politics is off the radar.
I feel like it makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But so many people are so comfortable with politicians, whatever side it may be, with them being like their idols, like them, putting them on a pedestal and idolizing, worshiping them almost. Yeah. It's kind of borderline weird almost.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's a great topic to talk about.
Yeah, I think this year, this election more than ever, it's been like extremes on both sides. Trump, Kamala, like if you like the one that I don't like, you know.
Yeah, like immediately, like I'm not fucking with you at all. Like,
yeah, exactly.
You're the op almost.
It's been that way for like the last 2 elections.
That's
feel
true.
Like.
That's true.
It's just been
I think Trump.
And the reality is, a lot of people have voted strictly based off of the fact that I just don't like the other one, so I'm going to vote for the other one, which is also a disaster. So.
Right. I think Trump is definitely a polarizing candidate.
Yeah. People
don't just like, I'm iffy on, you either hate Trump or you love Trump. There's no like mid-ground. And so I think it was very interesting in the NFL this week that after the 49ers game, they beat the Cowboys. Nick Bosa comes into an interview that's going on between Brock Purdy and George Kittle and Isaac Gutierrez post-game and flashes his Make America Great Again hat. Comes in there for about 5 seconds, shows it, kind of interrupts their interview doing it.
Right.
And then 15, 20 minutes later, he's done doing his media presser and he gets asked about it. Why did you do it? And his response is very simply, I don't really have much to say about it, but it's an important time. There's a lot of layers there for me.
Definitely.
But I'll start with you guys. Like, when you guys see that, what is your thoughts about, I guess, first, how he handled it, and then how maybe his teammates will take that, in the locker room?
I mean, I feel like that's a great question, especially because he made a statement without saying anything, almost.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? By putting the hat on, going into the interview, he deliberately did that for whatever reason, which is fine. You do that, and then you go to the podium and you're asked, what is your stance on what's going on? You did that for a reason. Can you talk about it? And doesn't want to talk about it, doesn't want to bring it up, but it's an important time. I would have loved to hear his thoughts on the election, on what his stance is, whatnot, just because he brought it up. You know what I mean? I think it's interesting to bring it up and then shy away and not talk about it. And if, you didn't want to, for lack of better terms, make it about yourself in that moment at the podium, then why interrupt somebody else's interview? Kind of thing.
Yep.
But at the same time, he's within his right to do that and then not say anything about it, to keep it to himself, because really he doesn't want to explain. He can do what he want to do, but I definitely would have wanted to hear what he had to say about it. I mean, definitely interested.
Do you think that maybe he would have said something, but PR saw what he did on camera, not knowing that he was going to do it, and then they were like, "Hey, if you stand on the podium, just do not say anything." Do you think that that might have happened?
Certainly, I'm sure there was conversation between him and PR
no doubt.
beforehand. Like you deal with PR probably more, so you know that there's a hot button topic.
Yeah, does that pull away from the team?
Yes.
You know what I mean? As a collective, because they just ended up winning. It was a good win. They've got 3 guys that were highlighted, and it's against an opponent, and it's like, do we want this to outweigh what we just did as a team, as a unit, and do you really want that to signify you in that moment? So now all the media is going to focus on what you did and not what the team just accomplished together. So that's also an aspect that I think is very, very, very valid reason why he didn't speak. So,
yeah. And so my thought there would be, if that's the case, he already made the decision to make it about him. We're sitting here on a Tuesday talking about the 49ers Cowboys, not because the 49ers win, but because of what Bosa did after the game.
Right.
And so to me, I thought it was a selfish decision from the start, just keeping it honest. Like, I think you making a decision where, George Kittle created the National Tight Ends Day. This is his day. They ended up having a celebration there, and then you're interrupting it and making it there. 15 million views and impressions across social media based off your 3 seconds, not what Brock Purdy or Isaac Gutierrez said or George Kittle. And so I thought it was very like a selfish decision. And then I felt like it was, to an extent, a little bit cowardly if you go about going into a press conference after and you don't have anything to say about it. To me, I'm with the same page as you. I am very big on not controlling anybody's message. You feel strongly about this, I want to give you the platform to speak about it. He had the platform there, and he chose to kind of go into hiding a little bit, in my view. And maybe there's other reasons why.
Right.
But to me, I think back to 8 years ago when Colin Kaepernick was on the stage, and he got shunned from a lot of people saying, stick to sports, keep politics out of sports. And that was a narrative. And he kneeled kind of in private. And when he made his decision, a lot of people had their explanations or thoughts about it, but when it became public, he stood in his locker room for an hour and answered questions about why he was doing it. And so we got clarity. You may not have agreed. A lot of people didn't agree, but you got clarity of what his thought process was there. And I think that it was, Bosa's doing that and then not giving an explanation. I just didn't like it at all. So
you wanted him to stand on business, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
stand
if you're
gonna
do it. And if you feel so inclined that to make the shit about you, then stand on that and explain, your stance. Because otherwise you're being cowardly. You're not standing on business. So,
right. No. You wear your hat in somebody else's interview. Where was the hat in your interview?
Right.
Why it was important for that moment, but when you go there, it wasn't important for you to do it when now all the eyes are on you and all the questions are on you. You got to be held accountable. I just thought that was, I just thought there was a lot in it that represented something that I'm not a fan of. Like you said, I need you to stand on business. And so my initial thought was like, what is your teammates thinking about this? Because we're all in the workplace and we all have to be held accountable for our decisions. Like, if I did something political, my bosses might have to ask me about it. And I'm going to have to answer about it. And ideally, I feel strongly enough about what I say that I will be able to explain it, and they either are cool with it or not. And so I'm curious, like his teammates, his brother, like Isaac Gutierrez, who's the running back there, he's got an immigrant parent. Like there's a lot of questions about what Trump's policies are in there. So like I'm curious just kind of what those interactions are. And I guess I'll turn to you, Vaughn. Like if you were in the 49ers locker room, what would your response be?
That's a great question. I think it's for me personally, I words mean things. So especially in a political space that we're in now, I think a lot of people like to throw their opinions out there, and they're very confident in what they say and whatnot. In the locker room, it's kind of like they can say what they want to say. It's not going to change my stance on where I stand socially as a adult black man in America. Obviously, I have certain viewpoints that others may not agree with.
Right.
But if you associate yourself with specific types of individuals, whether it's in agreement with me or not in agreement with me, at the end of the day, you're still my coworker.
Right.
So I'm going to respect the workplace.
Right.
But I am going to just move about it respectfully. You know what I mean? I'm not going to disrespect anybody's views because everybody's entitled to that. I'm not going to bash anybody because everybody's entitled to their own opinion. So I'm just going to intake what you think, and I might ask you questions. I might want to know more of your thought process, especially because obviously if you're thinking, in that way, it's different from how I think. Then I want to know why you think that way.
That's good.
I think the biggest thing for me is that if you're in a specific mindset and you have no information behind it and you can't explain to me, in what way, if you're not willing to, I get it because you don't care. If you are willing to explain, but you can't explain because you have a lack of information or if you have a lack of understanding of what's going on, then that's when I start to not question myself, but question you as to like how, what are the reasons why you're actually in that space for a thought process? You know what I mean? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
You feel what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So if you have the facts and you're like, hey, this is, this, that, and that, and this is why I support who I support, then I'm like, all right, I agree.
Yeah.
And if I don't support this person because this, that, and that, and I'm like, okay, cool, I agree.
Right.
Yeah. Or I hear what you're saying, I understand your point.
Willing to have informed debate or conversation with anybody about any viewpoint.
Exactly.
Which is really what it all comes down to at the end of the day. There's a reason why there's two parties to begin with, right? And everyone's entitled to make a decision based off of the facts and the beliefs that they have, right? And he made a decision to wear that hat that day, and it could come with repercussions, right? But reality is, like, I think you said it best, like, it's the workplace at the end of the day. And if you let something like that really alter your relationship with your teammates and your friends and coworkers and all that, then, I mean, you kind of lost sight about what this is really all about at the end of the day, where we do have that freedom to make the choices that we want to make, right? Because in other countries, this shit doesn't exist, right? We don't have that creative or that freedom or liberty to be able to make these decisions. The biggest problem is the fact that if you have that belief and I have this belief, all of a sudden now we hate each other, right? Which I think that's where like the biggest problem lies, where people are so inclined to be like F you if you don't believe the same way I do, right? Yet no one's even had a dialogue before why you made that decision, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's where the country in its entirety has really gone to the last couple of years, where it's like, hey, you're voting for this person. I don't even care to hear the why.
Yep.
I just don't like you now.
I think specifically in the workplace, it's important to deliver the mail to the right address. So if somebody is supporting an individual that you don't like, or that you perceive incites something in people that causes damage to another type of demographic, whatever it may be, and you don't address it with that person, go up to him and say, hey, your outright support of this person is offensive to me because X, Y, and Z. Or you supporting this person in this way is offensive to me, or it's hurting me, or disrespectful to me because of X, Y, Z. If you're not explaining that to the person that you have an issue with, then you're just allowing the process you're allowing the thing to continue to go on.
Right.
And if that person looks at you and they respect you when you're their coworker, and they say, I apologize if you feel that way, I support this person because this, that, and that, and I don't support this person because X, Y, and Z, then that's when you have a dialogue. And if you're speaking to each other respectfully, kind and direct, kind doesn't always mean like soft, but kind, direct, and respectfully, then there should be a dialogue where you can come to a conclusion of mutual ground and understanding of each other's points. But if neither side respects each other, or if one side doesn't respect the other, then that's when conflict ensues. And that's why I feel like it's uncomfortable for people to have these conversations in the workplace, amongst friends, amongst family members, because it causes such a divide. And a lot of the times, people aren't always as informed as they seem to be, and they get their information from people who aren't as informed. So it causes misinformation and misunderstanding of what's really going on.
I think that's a great point. Information is king, right? And you want to have informed debate with people who are informed. And I think it's really important for anybody to research their information. I'm not pretending that I'm an expert in politics. There's a lot of information I had to do on policy on both sides to understand what both parties stand for, because there's a lot of the conversation through the rhetoric that is about this person doesn't do that, this person doesn't do that. Well, what do you do?
Right.
That is something that you owe yourself to. And so I did that research myself. I made a decision to vote for today, and I encourage everybody else to do the research for themselves and vote, because that's, like you said, that is our God-given power of like, that's how we can affect change in our individual way. Even if it's one vote, that's how we can affect change. And then our interactions with each other, that's how we make the world better. Like, I have friends that support Trump and that support Kamala. And I think that's a place where some people can't separate that. And for me, I was able to do that as long as what you said, I feel like that person that I'm friends with that is against my side, I can have informed debate with them. I feel like their ideology is not based on that person. And I at least have an understanding, even if I disagree why that person is supporting the side that I'm not. You know, sometimes it's just, like you said, it's personal perspective. I may give a personal perspective of these are 3 or 4 reasons that directly impact me, my family, my community, that I feel like leads me one way. And you may have a different perspective. And I can completely tell you why I think you're wrong. But if we have debate about it and I feel like you're informed coming from your point, then I think that does not affect our relationship. That's how I go about it.
I agree.
I think also your character is not defined by politics, right? You know, it can be, right? But it's not entirely defined by that, right? I think the biggest thing that has continued to be a problem, I think, in politics in its entirety is that people really base everything off of who they vote for, right? And their ideologies and their personality and their character is all linked to who they vote for. Where, yeah, you know what? I might make a decision when I vote for someone, but guess what? You and I can talk and we can realize like we're actually more similar than different. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. Like, just have a dialogue and see where the hell that takes you, because you actually might realize you're more similar than different. But politics has created this separation that makes you to believe that you're more different than similar.
Right. I got one last thought, and I think we can move on to the next topic here. Circling back to Nick Bosa, I think that's why he missed the moment there, because he had a great opportunity to educate us on his information if he had some. He may not have had any information other than he felt strongly, but we don't know because he did not use that platform in that moment. He used a different platform, took it from someone else. It did not decide to stick to sports, but then when he got into the platform where he felt like it was a little bit more protruding, he decided that's when I'm going to lean back on the stick to sports nature. I just think that was what robbed us of potential education. And I just got one more thought, Fawn, for you. Like, I'm just curious for you, do you have any moments, whether in this locker room currently, previous years, or even in college, where you remember having a political debate with a teammate and maybe how that went?
I wouldn't say in the locker room itself, but in my personal friend group. We have a friend of ours, and he is the most conservative thought process amongst all of us.
Okay.
Almost. You know what I mean? And I think me and him think relatively similar, but I really want to hear his thought process and what he thinks. And so we have conversations all the time now. And it's really forced me to be, to educate myself more about politics and, what policies are and how things work. And I think that's probably been my most enlightening conversation around politics is with him. And getting down to the basics of who wants to help, who is actively going to help, who has the policies to help, and what are the facts. Like, not what this person does or this person said this and you can't trust this person. And I'm really not into the bashing, each other candidates type of thing. I just want to know, how are you going to help the American people? How are you going to help the economy? You know what I'm saying? Like, milk is $12. Like, things are getting out of hand. It's expensive to live here, kind of thing. So, and that's his point of view. But he's just a little bit more. He just explains it less, because we're talking in a group chat with our friends and whatnot. So he just doesn't really care to explain to everyone, because not everybody has the same thought process as him. But I'm really willing and I want to listen to what he has to say. So I think that's probably like the only aspect where I was like really talking about politics was with my good friend. But other than that, it hasn't really come up, honestly, in the locker room like that. We don't really, speak about it. If something happens, like the presidential debate or something like that, that's conversation here and there. But at the end of the day, like, we kind of just try to keep things ball in the locker room. But if somebody does have a conversation or somebody does bring it up, then I'm more than willing to listen and hear their point of view and want to have a conversation about it.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
No, I mean, the only other thing I would say is, you have the whole thing with the hat on camera. People have also voiced their opinions, like on Twitter and social media and stuff like that. So it's not like it's the first time we see someone really have a political view and make it public, right? So I think at the end of the day, like, you could tweet, you could wear a hat, you could do many different things.
No doubt.
And when you make that decision, just know that something comes with it.
No doubt. And that's the thing, like, these people, we have people in the locker room that tweet out, and they have, there's been people that speak up on TV and whatnot. That's their right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? This is their opinion. This is who they believe in and whatnot. So they can do that. Obviously, like you said, there's going to be repercussions and people who don't agree with you, who are in the same state, right? But there are also going to be people who do agree with you, and those people are going to they're going to mesh together and have conversations, but then that's also going to highlight the people that don't agree with you, and they're going to mesh. So that's where you kind of have the divide. But I think in our locker room, in my experience, everybody everybody respects everybody's opinion. So if you believe one thing, then that's what you believe in, and you can operate in that. You're still my coworker, and I'm still going to work with you. But it just is what it is. Everybody has a respect for each other's opinions.
All right, so I agree with that. So we're gonna get to our second down of the segment.
Yep.
And
good talk.
Good.
We had politics and it worked. We
we made that work.
Yeah,
we balancing it because you can't say too much, you can't say too little, but you want to say enough so people understand.
It was good. It was good stuff. But we got to get into some negative stuff now, I guess.
What's negative this week?
We can blur you out here.
We'll just put the shades on for a second, bro.
Dolphins took a tough loss this weekend. And
that's one way to describe it.
It felt good, really good for 3 quarters.
Yep.
And then it just felt really bad when you're walking out of that stadium. It was Tua's return. It was all these amazing things, all this hype. Dolphins offense was rolling, scored 10 points. And I remember saying when we were up 10-0, my initial, I swear to God, this is the first words that got out of my mouth when we scored that 10th point. I go, we were up 10-0 last week.
So you're the reason why you jinxed us.
I think I jinxed us, yeah. So I'm already kind of putting the blame on myself.
What happened to the optimism, bro? Like, you said that you... Come on, bro. What happened? I was relying on you, bro, to be optimistic. We needed that.
Hey,
I've been optimistic for 6 weeks.
Y'all told me keep the faith. Y'all told me hope.
Keep the faith. Still keep the faith, bro. Still keep the faith.
Honestly, I had the faith when we were up 20. What was it? 23-14, maybe 27-18, I think.
Yeah, it was like a 9-point game at some point.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. Offensive scoring points, firing. We're good, bro. You said it before we were recording. What team last year came back from like a 2-5?
Okay, so the Green Bay Packers came back from a 2-5.
Come on now.
Okay, so let's get into this.
And what they do? They made the playoffs.
They made the playoffs.
Come on now.
So the season is not over. This is not the obituary.
No. I'm not on the panic button yet.
But let's keep it real.
Why did you say yet?
Because if we lose the next 2, I'm fucking jumping right out.
So here's what I'll say, because we got to keep it real, and I'll keep it real in this particular moment, because 2-5 is not an obituary yet. That being said, there was an ESPN stat for teams that went 2-5 in the Super Bowl era, less than 5% of them make the playoffs. And so that's just the numbers. Every team is different. Doesn't mean it's an obituary, but it does mean there's a deep, deep hole to dig out of. And I guess there has to be a conversation of like, how did you get here? And it can't be as simple as quarterback wasn't here for 4 games. Because as we saw this week, the issues are more than just the quarterback. You look at a situation where Tua played relatively well. He threw the ball. They scored 27 points, which is the most they've scored since all season. It was season high, actually. So the offense came through. Tua slid. Everybody wanted Tua to slid. Crowd goes crazy, clapping, happy, everybody excited. But in this particular game, the defense, after carrying them for a few weeks, didn't have their best game. And I talked to Emmanuel Agba after the game, and he put it probably better than anybody could put it. He said we shit down our legs, and I think that is a descriptor of what happened in this particular game. And it's like, why a team as talented as the Dolphins are, does it keep on happening?
Yeah.
And so typically for me, and this is just my personal opinion, when you look at maybe team struggles, it happens because of A, talent, B, execution, 3, coaching, right? And so if talent's not the issue, because people can argue, I look at the team and it's a very talented team. You look at them in a lot of positions. Maybe you could argue maybe the trenches are an area where they aren't a top 10 group in their position group. But I'd say pretty much every other group, you have at least an elite talent or talented players in those rooms. And so why isn't it? So to me, it's execution or coaching. And I think it's been a combination of both, right? And I think you look at this team, and we talked about discipline last week. They were a little better in penalties this week. But you look at, okay, in situations, we talked about situational football earlier in the episodes. When situations are needed, who steps up? There's a moment where Tua doesn't catch a snap. He ends up being a safety. You lose a game by 1 point. It's not just on him, but that's a situational play that ends up causing directly to points. There's a situation where the Cardinals are down 9. Why isn't there a little bit more clock bleeding? Where is the defense in making stops when you know that Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride are the guys that they're focusing on the ball coming back?
Yeah.
Where is the adjustment on some of the scheme when you have a situation where Kyler's extending plays and making plays with his legs, and that's a lot of how the big plays down the field come through. And so to me, that's a big question mark. And I get the keep the faith. I get the hope, not shutting down any of those from Dolphins fans, but I think we have to look at the reality of like, there's been something missing for this team throughout the season. And I think it's very, I think a lot of this is unrealistic to expect a flip just to switch. And if it is, who's flipping the switch? We talked about personality. I don't know if this personality of this team, people bring back 1-7, and I want to get into 1-7. But the personality of the team does not, like, I was there in 2021, and you have a coach in Brian Flores who is a little bit more of a hard ass, and he's going to get on you. He's going to motivate guys to get the most out of guys. That doesn't seem to me the personality of necessarily this coaching staff or this team. This team has done it a lot more with talent than that team did it a little bit more with grit. And so, like, that to me, when everybody makes the comparison, I don't see that 1-1 because it's a different style of coach, different style of team. And so as they head to Buffalo this week, I don't really know what all you can do is really have hope because I don't have any evidence any proven evidence to say, hey, they can go into Buffalo and win this game. Yeah. That's just me, on the outside opinion, someone who's not playing on the field. I get it. Media says whatever they want. They're not there. They have these narratives, and so I understand that. But that's how I feel. And I guess, Dre, my thought is like, what is the fan base thinking right now as they go through this period of like, what the hell?
It's like I said last week. If we lost this week, shit was just going to get louder. Yeah. That's all it did. It's the same narrative week over week, but every loss just gets louder and louder and louder. It's fire from the top down, you know? Just
that was in the stadium. They said that in the stadium
blow it
on
up,
Sunday.
Right? That's what everyone's saying. Blow it up, blow it up, blow it up. And I sit there and I try to digest that, and I'm like, I can't fathom that, right? Roster's way too talented, and there's this team is the best team I've ever seen in my life in terms of talent, right? The record obviously is one thing, but when I watch the physical product on the field and the players that are on the field, I'm like, this is by far the most talented roster we've put together.
Yep.
And you could blame all these other things, depth, this, that, right? Where there might be holes on this team. But there's no perfect team at the end of the day, right? You're going to have a hole always at some point in the roster. What confuses me the most with this team is really like, why isn't it working, right? Because it should work. Obviously, we've had our mishaps with injuries and things like that along the way. But again, you see some of these other teams that have lost their quarterbacks. See the Lions just lost their best pass rusher, and they went and they scored 52 points and only gave up, I think, like 17, right? Like, teams are dealing with their own situations too, and they're still finding ways to win. So my biggest question becomes like, why? And I that's where I struggle. I don't know. I try to be like I was telling you before the pod. We didn't play a bad game, but in the 7 weeks that we've played, we haven't played a good game across every single facet of the game. If it's not offense, it's defense. If it's not defense, it's special teams.
Yeah, complementary football.
All three facets of the game haven't clicked at the same time. And that's where I struggle because I'm like, well, why? Is it Mike? Is it Greer? Is it the players? Is it who? I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
That's above my pay grade.
Absolutely. And of course, fans, we talked about this. Fans are going to have their reactions. I heard the Fire Greer chants in the stadium on Sunday. People are going to ask for Mike's job, all this different things. We talked about it last week. At least for me, from a logistical standpoint, you paid a lot of these people. You paid Mike McDaniel an extension. You paid Tua an extension. Yeah. You paid Tyreek and Waddle. So there's a lot of money tied in this. Right. Stephen Ross may say F the money, but there's a lot of money brought into this situation of like, this is going to be the core that leads us. And so now I think those people have to be held accountable. The people who, in my opinion, are the highest paid are the people that have the biggest weight. And the people who have had the biggest commitment to them are the people who have the biggest weight. So that's kind of how I look at it. And so I got to, I'm going to keep it real because I like him as a guy, but I got to see more out of Mike McDaniel in this period. I think that this is a really important period for Mike McDaniel as a coach because he got a lot of praise, and a lot of it came from me the last couple of years about what he's doing as an offensive genius. What is he doing and getting the most out of Tua? And he's done a lot of that in that respect. We're in a really adverse period. He loves to use the phrase adversity is opportunity. How do you lead your team out of this? Is your team going to fight for you? Talk to people in the locker rooms afterwards, after the game, and a lot of the questions like, we're going to find out now who's willing to fight through the mud, because it's easy to fight when things are gravy, when it's looking here. If it's 2-5, and as I said, the percentages are not looking great, who's going to just say, you know what? It's not really for me. I'm not really motivated by this particular staff or this particular period or this particular year. And for a lot of dudes, it's an older roster. This may be their last year. There's not like we'll just try this again next year for some guys. So I think this is a really interesting period. This Buffalo game's very key because it's a Buffalo team that honestly does not care what the Dolphins are going through. They don't care that Tua was hurt for 5-6 weeks. They don't care that the Dolphins lost a close game, and if they just needed a little bit more, they would have beat the Cardinals. They trying to clinch the division by Thanksgiving, which, by the way, they actually
they're looking
on
good
relatively decent pace for that. Sorry, bro. They're up 3.5 games with through 8 games, on the division. And so Dolphins win this week. It's a whole different story.
It shifts a lot, for sure.
It's a whole different
story. It proves
story.
a lot.
It's a whole different story. And
it proves a lot.
I hope for the Dolphins' sake, for Von's sake, so we're not just having a sad obituary, that we're looking next week and talking about the keep the faith motto, the hope motto, everything turning. I can only go off of what I've seen, though.
I will say this. I think you guys make valid points, right? I just think that we're a little ahead of ourselves. I think that, Tua's first week back, the offense getting their rhythm back, getting into a groove. I think that as a whole, as a unit, all we got to do is just get our rhythm together. The song never sounds good if the rhythm is off. You feel what I'm saying? So it's just about getting the rhythm together, getting your steps underneath you, and really just falling back on what we always practice. It's not like we're doing anything different. It's not like we have to do anything different. All we have to do is just get back into the rhythm that we were in week 1. Everybody's back. Everybody's good. Like, just calm down. Stay calm, because I think the most important thing, what we need not to do, is to start pointing at things that don't need to change. Because when something goes wrong, a lot of people tend to look for things to change, and you can end up moving something that really needs to just stay where it's at.
Right.
So
that's a good point.
I don't think that we need to change anything. I don't think we need to get rid of anybody, trade, fire. I think that's outlandish to say right now. I think the most important thing is just to get back into the rhythm. That's what it is. Just reset. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just reset.
It's like a band, and you lost your lead singer,
Exactly.
right? And like the
You just
vocals
gotta
are a little
reset.
off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
One day the drummer's on.
One band, one sound.
One day the
Drummer,
bass
band,
guy's
one
on.
sound.
We
Exactly what
we
I'm
just need
saying.
to all be on the same page.
Everybody, we need all 11 on offense, all 11 on defense, all 11 on special teams. If one person's off, then the whole squad is off.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think
that's been the problem. It's there's always just that one little shit that's off.
One little. And the ball's just not rolling our way.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's true.
All we got to do is just get back in the rhythm.
So I definitely understand that. I guess my question is, when does that shift? And maybe you're right. Maybe we are premature. And to your point,
I will say this. We got to get back in rhythm now.
Yeah.
Right now. You know what I'm saying? We got to
Yeah.
get back in rhythm right now. Which,
Right.
respectfully,
I guess the question is, like, in 2 weeks from now, let's say, right? We go 0-2 over the next the 2 games. And I don't want to put that out there. I don't want to.
You already
did. The hypothetical. It's the hypotheticals. You got to play the hypothetical as a fan.
You already did.
I look at the schedule down.
I mean, that's
week
fine.
0.
So
I'm gonna go down every game.
I get you, and you could play theoreticals and what ifs all you want. If my aunt had a dick, she'd be my uncle. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, it's like if you look hey, you like it? If you look too far ahead, you're gonna miss exactly what's here.
I agree.
You feel what I'm saying?
I agree.
So
I
if
hate
you're
playing that
worried
game.
about
Yeah.
what if this and what if that, it's gonna put you in a mindset of like that you already lost.
Yeah.
Right.
You're gonna be thinking about something that
That's how the fan. I'm asking that question
No
because
doubt.
that's how the fans think, and that's how they talk.
Right.
and that's what I wanted to hear from the fan perspective, because like I'm with Von. I don't think Mike McDaniel or Chris Greer should be fired at this stage. I think that's premature.
Right.
But I think there's a lot of like, this is the trend that we're going on. And I think that it would be unfair for me and unfair for us as a show, maybe not you, Von, but us as a show, to not mention the fact that this is the reality. This is what's happening. This is what it's trending to, and asking what needs to change, because the same ball is going to lead, at least in my view, to the same losses. There has to be some element of change.
Schedule gets tougher second half of the year, hypothetically.
Right. And last thing I want to say on this, and we can move past the Dolphins and move to our next topics, is the Bills game is coming up. It's a big division rival here. And I'm thinking like this, you talk about this has to be now. A lot of people, and Tua said it after the game, he remembered being 1-7 in 2021 and being able to lead that team to I think it was 7 straight wins, and they fell just short of the playoffs, lost the game in Tennessee, and that was the end of the Brian Flores era. But the second half of the year, they played really well. Some context needed there. I don't think every team in the back end of that schedule was elite. I'll just say it like that. But they still won 7 games when everybody put them to death. So I guess I'll start there from Vaughn. Like, what do you remember about that year? And if the turnaround does start now, what can you maybe take from that experience?
I just remember being losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and it was like the first W in like 20 games. And we were in London, and on that ride back, it was me, Mac Hollins, Tua, J-Dub. We were just sitting on the plane talking, and it was my mindset to them was really just like, we have no other option. Like, it's either win or go home at this point. You know what I mean? So we're not at that point. We're not at that point yet. You know what I'm saying? And I say yet because, like you said, like,
shouldn't we be though?
I don't think we're at the point of like, we have no other options. We have to win or we're gonna lose. Like, okay, no, hold on. It's not necessarily like win or we're gonna go home, but I think it is to a point where we need to have that mindset.
Yeah,
I will say that it's not there, but we need to have that mindset, so that we can have an opportunity to make it out of it with the leeway to get to where we want to get to.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But that was my mindset, and I just remember us emphasizing to trust each other and stick together, trust the other side of the ball, trust the other two phases, that they're going to do their job, and you just focus on your job and how you can maximize your ability to help your teammates in your position every down, every play, during practice, recovery, workouts, like whatever it is, maximizing your opportunity to be able to make the team better. So that's what I said.
To piggyback off that question as well, when it comes to leadership, right, in the locker room, and obviously leadership starts, with your head coach, but what's the dynamic between, like, your leader and your head coach, but also having like a leader in the locker room that when things are just not going well, like, how does that dynamic work, right? Because your coach is relaying one message, but you guys internally around the players have your leadership, and you kind of rely on your leaders to really like create a spark in that locker room, lift the energy up, and keep the momentum. So what's that dynamic like?
I think the most important part about being a leader in the locker room is that you're sparking up the team, but with the coach's message. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can say what he says to the team and addresses us, but I think it's important for the leaders to put that into action. And the most effective way is to lead by example. You know what I mean? So be there on time, be the first out, last in. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Clean up after yourself. Taking practice very seriously, taking walkthrough very seriously, like emphasizing the small details, because small details become major details if they're unchecked. Practice efforts become game reality. So I think as leaders in the locker room, it's to emphasize the coach's points, but to emphasize them in real-time action. I think that's like the most effective way in my experience.
And is there like an accountability component? Like, if someone's messing up in practice, like, is someone coming in and saying, okay.
Absolutely. Holding ourselves accountable. That's what I mean by taking action. Like, you're holding everybody else accountable because your standard is so high, and you're holding your teammates' standard. You're holding your teammates up to that standard. It's going to force them to rise. So once everybody is up there, if somebody is fucking around in practice, then the leaders won't even have to check. So the person next to them, whoever it may be, is going to check that person and tell them, like, hey, you got to be on your shit, otherwise you're going to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how we run our team. This is how we focus, how we do things here. So I think that's like very important.
Yeah, you were talking about the London trip and how your emotions were then. What happened after that? After you got back from London, like, how did you feel the wins started to spit? We're talking about 2021 and the 7 straight wins that came from that hole.
Truthfully, I felt like I was just way more focused on the very small details, like I said, of practice, and kind of how I'm conducting myself right now. Like, I was just really focused on how we do walkthrough, how we practice, how our effort is, running to the ball in practice, like trying to mimic the game as much as possible in practice every day, so that when I get to the game, it's almost second nature. You know what I'm saying? And that's down to like everything for me. Pre-game warm-up, like trying to really make it feel like I'm just going out to practice, so that my body is already conditioned to be in that state of mind already. And my rookie year, my DB coach had said, it's almost like you have to go to a dark place. So in practice, getting to that dark place and living in that uncomfortable dark place so that when I go on the field, I can just call on it whenever I need to. And I say dark place because obviously you have to be slightly crazy to play football, but that's my mindset. That's how I try to play. So that I'm already in that mode. I'm already in rhythm. I'm already locked in as soon as I step on the field. And in 21, that's how it felt after that London trip. I mean, I felt just relaxed in games, no stress going into the game. Like I knew the game plan and I knew what was going to happen because I was so focused on the film and studying and whatnot that as soon as I stepped on the field, I knew exactly what I had to do and how I had to play. All the rest of it was just me reacting and enjoying being out there.
Yeah, Gerald Alexander and Charles Burks were your DB coaches that year.
Yeah.
Was there a clicking moment, I guess, in that season where you felt like now it feels different? Like, was there a game that 2021 season where you were like,
absolutely? I think the Baltimore Ravens game.
Yeah.
I mean, we had blitzed. I had blitzed like 38 times that game.
Yeah.
And
so you and Brandon Jones.
We were blitzing crazy, right? And I think that wasn't the blitzing itself. It was just the trusting the game plan and us just like, if they can't stop it, let's just keep running it. You know what I mean? And if they figure it out, we're gonna do something else, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's a mentality. That mentality has to come in this period, right? You know.
Yeah.
So I think that. Last thing before we move on to the check-in is, how's your knee?
My knee's good. My knee's good. It was just like whiplash almost. You know what I'm saying? I had the double bilateral MCLs last year, and obviously I was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Yeah. But after a couple of days, my knee's starting to feel really good, and so I'm just taking it day by day. Day by day.
No long-term injury.
No, like no surgeries, nothing like that. But definitely, prehab, man. I think prehab helped a bunch. I've been doing a bunch of prehab work, making sure that I'm strengthening and stuff. So I feel like with all my injuries that I've had, prehab has put me in a place to sustain an injury, but it not be as bad as it could have been. Yeah. Right. So I'm blessed to have the people around us in the facility, at home in South Florida, to be able to put me in that position. So shout out to all those people that helped me out. But prehab is huge.
Yeah, you got a shot for Sunday?
I'm hopeful. I really am hopeful. So taking it day by day. I'm not trying to get too ahead of myself, but I'm still game planning, doing treating my regular week how I treat my regular week. So yeah.
Hand? How is the hand fully?
The hand is 3 weeks out of surgery. Yeah. So, but
I see you don't have to wrap this week.
I don't have the wrap. You see, it's peeling crazy right now, and it's a little bumped
still
up.
Got a little bump there.
Yeah.
Show the camera.
Yeah. So is this camera? No, I'm just playing. I'm just so just like rubbing it down with like some lotion. Yeah. But it's like bumped up. Just gotta get like scar tissue moving around.
What's that cream?
Cocoa
butter.
Yeah. You use cocoa butter?
I do.
All right.
You wasn't sure. You wasn't sure. You think it's a black man thing?
No, I was just wondering. Bro. I know.
My girl was actually the one that introduced it to me, and I'm like, yo, what the hell is this shit? This shit's nice.
Hey, cocoa butter.
Cocoa butter get you right.
It's facts. Shit hits different.
But we're straight.
Just felt good playing with it.
Yeah. It felt straight. It's starting to get like, I mean, there's not really that much pain anymore. So now it's just about getting the scar tissue down. And
did you play with the cast?
Yeah, it was like this like super high tech carbon fiber type thing.
You felt like you was an Iron Man?
Low key, like I really felt like Hellboy low key because I had the one arm was like bigger. Yeah. But the swag was so straight though. You seen I had to like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. That's my favorite swag.
So we got Halloween this week, which I know we'll get into a little bit about that, but how we feeling going into Halloween week, an election week, a lot of things going on. Yeah. Get into the latter half of the year. I can't believe we're already getting into like Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right.
And all that.
I know, right? Getting into holidays. I'm not looking forward to the cold, bro. Like I'm not. Maybe
you mean like your travel cold because it doesn't get cold
travel
here.
Cold. No, yes, outside here. Like I'm starting to think. Unfortunately, I'll just keep it real for the Dolphins. Since the Dolphins are not winning right now, I am not gonna be as around as much, like at least in the media, until y'all turn around. I'm listening to you. Maybe the London trip. There's no London trip this year, but maybe this Bills trip to Buffalo feels like London as far as the distance can turn around and be the spark for you guys. But until then, I will be on the road, and so I'm thinking about the cold.
You're going to a lot of cold places.
Yeah, a lot of cold places, and I done got soft now with the cold weather.
Nah,
so
I'm not good with the cold.
Nah, bro.
Yeah,
cold is crazy.
Even though I did that Kansas City game, that shit was cold.
Kansas City was crazy.
That playoff game last year, that shit was crazy.
Yeah, I wasn't in Kansas City, but I was actually in Buffalo. The game that got moved back. It's funny because they were.
Oh my god!
They got theirs postponed.
Yeah,
it was colder in Kansas City, but it wasn't snowing as much.
But they had the snow
to play
in Buffalo,
there that Sunday. So yeah, I'm good, man. I think we were talking last week where I am. I feel like I'm in a better place, like just kind of mentally of this week. So flowing, playing a little golf. Played for the first time in 3 weeks. It's crazy because the range sessions have been awful, but I played around and I was actually pretty decent. Like for my level, like I shot in the like 93, which for some people is awful. For me, it's a decent score.
You're gonna be mad. You're gonna be mad when I tell you my golf round, and then
it was bad for you, right?
I shot a 95 and I was fucking livid, bro.
Oh nah.
Like I was like, I sat in the car. I didn't say a word the whole time. I was like with two of my boys, and I just sat there the whole time. And they're like, "Yo, you good?" I'm like, I'm just thinking about how fucking bad that round was.
Yeah. See, 95. That's like I'm fine with that. Like I'm walking around the course. I'm not happy. I'm not angry. I'm just like
like,
decent day at the
with it.
course. So that would give you an idea where my handicap is. I'm flirting with the
golf is therapeutic. Maybe that's what you get out there. You're feeling good. I think it's a good place to be. I know you haven't been able to play.
I haven't been able to play, man. It's a hand, a knee. I'm itching to get knowledge play. But I'm good, man. First Halloween, I'm gonna be sitting outside, giving candy to the kids, chilling, very unk status, like playing some oldies,
OG.
watching a movie maybe.
Is your neighborhood like a big?
Yeah, they got like kids walking around all the time.
Like trick or treat neighborhood.
There's like elementary school around my crib. So
Are you at the yelling "get off my grass" stage of life?
Nah, just cause like, I mean like. Why are you on my grass? Like, I'm gonna just like stand like, hey.
Well, you should do you know how like those people they dress like in like if they're like a mannequin, I guess you could say. They sit on the bench and they put the bowl there. Yeah. And they just sit like super still, so the kids come up
and scare them a little bit.
Yeah. I might do that. I don't got a bench, but I might just sit down and just wait.
Yeah.
But nah, so
you big candy bar guy, you give
that is actually a good question. I don't know where to get the big candy bars at. I could order them, but right now it's looking like Target or Walmart.
Target's a good move. Walmart.
They have big candy bars there?
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I might end up having to be that guy. Like, because I loved going to that guy's house. During Halloween.
Yeah.
Like, so John Madden. So he was like lived in my city.
John Madden,
John Madden
Okay.
lived in my city. It was like this private community called Golden Eagle. So we used to drive over there, and he had nuns giving out candy bars.
What?
I kid you not. His big ass gate. His nuns giving out candy bars, and they were like this big, like Hershey's chocolate, double XL, double chocolate chunk. It was huge.
I never got that.
Yeah. I got that one time.
Yeah.
But it was fire though.
Yeah. I love those. I love those.
I might be a big candy bar guy.
Yeah. You gotta.
I might have to do that.
You start. Everybody want to go to your house.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
You don't become that guy.
Create a problem.
Bro, did you go over there?
Exactly.
Facts.
Yeah, for sure. What is y'all favorite candy? By the way?
So my approach when I would go was just like get whatever I could get. Essentially, like I wasn't gonna like be that kid that was gonna be picky, but I would say if they had Reese's, like hook me up with the Reese's.
Got you.
And then after you did your round,
right?
Everyone dumps their candy out on the floor. And I would just barter with everyone, and like I'll give you a Snickers for a Reese's, M&Ms for a Reese's, and at the end I just had a massive thing of Reese's.
So my process, we would go around, walk around, get candy, come back to the house, and everybody would put their candy like in separate areas. Then my dad would go through and start picking off candy bars.
Take his tax. That's a dad
tax. His tax. He's like, just making sure there's no open wrappers. Now he walking around with all the Snickers. All that,
that's flaw.
Bro. But my favorite candy was Snickers, so I was always like, I would pick those out first, put them back in the bag, hide them, then give him the rest of the candy. Hey. But my dad got weird taste buds, bro. He like candy corn and shit.
See, there's candy corn. We all on the same page. Candy corn.
Candy corn is a double down, double thumbs down.
Cool. But, glad we all good there.
What even is it?
I don't know, bro. Something that's not edible.
It's not good.
Corn and candy. I don't even know.
It's just
You like Tootsie Rolls?
No.
I like Tootsie Rolls. They're not something I'm gonna go crazy about.
My dad loved Tootsie Rolls.
Really? Like Tootsie Rolls is the little small black and red label around it, right? It's not that I don't like them. It's just, bro, when I fucking eat those things,
they're chewy. You're right.
They get stuck in my teeth and shit like that. Like I feel like I'm chewing
gum. I actually
don't
know.
But
it's
like
chocolate. But I don't know
it's like
what
a chocolate gum.
Chocolate log. No chocolate.
Twizzlers? You like Twizzlers?
Log.
I'm actually with Twizzlers.
Twizzlers are good.
I'm not a Twizzlers guy, but I'm not a big candy guy. I'm strictly chocolate.
Okay.
I don't like.
You don't like
Sour Patches.
Oh, you're crazy.
Sour Patches.
Sour Patch watermelon. The Sour Patch peach. Ooh. Fire.
Really? Actually, of all the candies, Sour Patch is probably the one that I'm game with. But Skittles, nah. Starburst,
I smacked some Skittles, bro.
I know.
Crazy. My grandfather loves Skittles. I introduced him to sour Skittles. Next time I go to his house, every grandparent got like that clear bowl with the candy in it. It's full of sour Skittles.
Oh man, that would have been my favorite house to go to. Sour Skittles. I like the sour That's my favorite candy. But you mentioned Reese's, and I think that's a great transition point because I hate peanut butter.
That's true. That's right.
And so I hate peanut butter. It's one of the most
I
repulsive.
still can't get behind that. I don't understand how.
It's one of the most repulsive tastes to me. And like I told you guys a story off camera. I remember when I was a kid, like 5, 6 years old, I'm sitting there, like it wasn't daycare, it was like a school, after school thing. They told me to eat the peanut butter and jelly sandwich before I can get on the video games, play Mario Kart. I sat there all day. I didn't eat the sandwich. And so that day, I didn't like it before then. I'm definitely not liking it then. I'm scarred. And so I was shocked to see a story in The Athletic this week talking about Uncrustables, talking about how many Uncrustables NFL players eat in the locker room.
That shit was crazy.
It was a great story. Shout out to the writer, but Broncos most at 700. You guys were fourth, I think, eat about 300 or 400 a week.
Who is eating 400 Uncrustables in our facility?
Also, who was providing that that data?
I'm guessing like
who's tracking
the person in charge of nutrition?
Who is tracking?
I guess
bro?
The nutrition
Yeah,
guy.
there's
no way.
The
Where do they even keep the
Uncrustables?
Uncrustables at? Like I don't even know.
Usually people fridge them, right?
Yeah, keep it in the cold.
Yeah.
They're cold? I wouldn't even know.
True. You wouldn't
I
know.
wouldn't even know.
Like
No,
what are we
I'm
doing?
pretty sure they put them in the fridges.
We're buying peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, bro. Just make your own PB and J.
That's what I'm saying.
Uncrustables aren't even that good.
Yeah. So I'm
I
glad
think
you're
I'm on the Bond train.
You think Uncrustables are good?
I think they're
Pooch, I hope you're mic'd up,
Pooch.
Pooch.
I got it.
Rank Uncrustables 1 to 10. Where would you put them like on the snack rating list? Like if 10 was like the best snack anytime,
Wow.
where would you put it?
0.
No, not like that. I got the mic.
But Uncrustables would be a different category than a traditional just PB sandwich.
Like if
right?
you're
So I
hungry,
remember
you're like
growing up, like
a lunch snack, like you're at
I
school.
would always have like Uncrustables. Like throughout middle school, I had like at least one Uncrustable. And in high school, like when I was playing ball, like
Why don't you just make a peanut butter sandwich?
our brother Herb, bro, like he had the snack. Like, dude, he would sell out like Uncrustables like by midday.
Yeah, I guess they're easy
Like,
access because they're already
Dude, like,
wrappers.
before
So you're a
practice-
It
diehard
takes 2
fan.
seconds to make a peanut butter
You buy
sandwich.
2 for $1. You get 2
I don't
little
get- I can't get
PB&Js,
behind it.
You eat them before practice, before film, and dude, you're good.
I'm not eating an Uncrustable, bro.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not
So
doing
apparently that carbs are good. Got a little bit of protein,
Yeah,
a little bit
but
of
like-
fat, but like okay. So what do you eat in the locker room then? Like for your, you trying to get it on the go?
I'm eating a real PB&J. So they make PB&Js for us, right? I'm eating a wheat bread, grape jelly, peanut butter. Crunchy or smooth peanut butter, doesn't matter. Peanut butter.
Crunchy's fire.
And if I can have it my way, I'm putting a thin layer of peanut butter on one piece of bread, a regular amount of peanut butter on the piece of bread, and then I'm putting the jelly in between. Because sometimes the jelly makes the bread soggy, and I don't want a soggy PB&J. So to keep the bread nice and firm, you give that thin layer of peanut butter, keeps the integrity of the bread, and it also makes like a little action-packed bite into the peanut butter.
So I actually just do PB. I don't put any jelly. So people think I'm psycho because they're like, bro, the PB is so dry.
So you
Like,
have to have bev with that. You have to have a beverage.
I gotta have
It's
water with
disgusting,
me, yeah,
bro.
by every single time.
That's actually criminal.
There's
You
a
don't
time-
throw no honey on there or nothing?
Sometimes honey,
You're lying.
but nah, just straight peanut butter, bro.
Straight
That's how
peanut
much I
butter.
fucking like peanut
I
butter.
can't believe y'all are still pretending that
Crazy.
peanut butter is.
That's
a
how good it is, bro.
A good item,
You're treating peanut butter like it's Arby's or something.
bro. It is Arby's.
No way.
Like I wonder
no
why
way.
either one is in
No.
existence.
No way. I would
Honestly,
rather
they
eat
should
a, I
shut
would rather
down
eat a
Arby's
jean
and make a
jacket
fast
than eat
food
Arby's.
peanut butter place because
Oh, my goodness.
that's how good that shit is.
I would rather eat a jean jacket than eat Arby's.
I don't think I've ever eaten Arby's in my life.
I don't know who's keeping Arby's in business,
Seriously.
but if you're going to eat those roast beef sandwiches, you're disgusting.
Yeah. I eat
disgusting.
a lot of things. No Arby's, no peanut butter.
I like their fries.
No sloppy joes. I don't rock with the
You
sloppy
eat at
joes.
Arby's?
He eats Arby's.
No, I don't eat Arby's.
No, it's
Go ahead,
fine,
you
bro.
talk
No,
about
bro,
it.
it's fine.
Hey,
It's fine.
Hey, somebody's got to eat it.
No,
Somebody's got to do it.
Someone's
Somebody's
buying it.
Somebody's got to take the hit.
Or they're laundering money.
Yeah.
That's the other
I've
option.
eaten there, and like I don't eat the roast beef. I like their chicken sandwiches.
So
They have
wait,
chicken?
Okay, so
Yeah.
keep on going because you're starting to name more things. You
You
eating
eat
chicken sandwich from
sandwich
Arby's?
at Arby's versus Chick-fil-A?
Oh my god.
Dude, this is just in the moment. Relax.
Nah, what else?
You get a burger from Popeyes too?
No.
Okay, that's actually
Oh,
criminal.
that would have been
actually
wild.
criminal.
Do they even have burgers?
Or like,
know.
Bro, like, look, around my crib, like, for a while, like, there was only
think I
like, an
got
Arby's
fish.
there. And, like, I used to, like, go down that street. It was right on Sunset and 117th. And, like, bro, like, sometimes I just, like,
There's also a Burger King there, a
Relax.
Wendy's.
guys, I'm not saying I go there religiously. I haven't been there.
I
in
mean,
five
shit, you
days.
know their
Why?
chicken sandwich and their fries, like you know they're good, so you must be
I
a
haven't
common.
been there
You must be a
forever.
regular.
No, I don't really eat fast food that much. I try not to eat as much. But Arby's, like, I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like terrible when I went.
Got you.
They actually had an apple turnover that wasn't bad either.
Okay.
No, he's defending this
Apple
shit too
turnover.
Bro, when I was little, like we would go there.
Nah,
He's defending
fam.
this shit too
Nah.
hard.
When I was little, I would go there.
You probably like Pop-Tarts with no frosting or something.
Speaking of wild
Not
things,
crazy.
you guys have wild food takes. And speaking of wild takes, I think this is a good time to transition to. Oh! Howling with the Wolf. A few wild.
You know,
bro.
I actually didn't know where he was going with that. I'm like, okay, like what is?
No, I knew
Hey,
where-
I
I knew
was
where he
looking
was
on the
going.
screen like, okay, what
I
are
was
we?
ready.
In a few weeks, y'all gonna be howling with me.
I was ready.
I'm like, what are we talking about?
I was ready for it.
All right, so quickly here, let's go through a few of these. A few things that I saw this week that I want to get you guys' reaction on. Cowboys corner Trevon Diggs. Cowboys lost. He comes out of the locker room, full pads. I think he might even been click-clacking with the cleats. Found the reporter who tweeted about him during the game, essentially said, what are you doing on a play that he was playing with, and calls him out.
That's what you got from that whole play. That's what you got from that.
I'm asking you. We can talk about it more. What were you doing there?
That's how he decided to end it. And so I'll leave it to you guys. You know, Trevon Diggs, very good cornerback. What do you guys take away from his interaction?
Bro,
with
going into the locker room and checking your phone, typing your name in on Twitter after a loss, so real, bro. I feel him. Like, I feel you, bro. I feel
You've
you.
been there.
I've been there. It's like, it wasn't even nothing bad, but it's like, damn, I wonder if anybody saw that. Like, let me go look.
They did see it.
Nah, it's real, bro.
They saw it.
It's all right, chill out. Damn.
They saw it, bro. They saw it.
Okay, bro, chill. Like,
Right.
but nah, that's real, bro. That's real. And then him confronting a reporter. I mean, I probably wouldn't have gone that far, but
You never confronted a reporter?
I mean, chill out. I wouldn't have screamed at bro like that, but I feel him though. Like,
Yeah.
that's real.
Yeah.
All I can say is that's real.
I mean, that was like the Hail Mary play. What's his name? The one that was.
That's next. That's next.
Oh, is that the next one?
That's the next
Okay.
one.
Well, okay, yeah. So we can go into that one. You explain it because I got thoughts on that for sure.
Yeah. So on Diggs, just because I'm a reporter,
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. I actually don't mind the interaction there. Like, I'm fine with any type of interaction. Like, players be mad at me if I say something wild or I did cool. Like, we can do it man to man. That's why I go to locker rooms. Like, I'm willing to stand on what I stand on. I just thought it was funny that he didn't even get out of his pads,
he stayed
checking
full
Twitter.
Oh, man,
and that was the
Well,
first.
because I think he realized that reporter was there in the locker room.
Yeah.
So he's like, before that guy's out of here, I got something to say to
Yeah,
him.
he did, but
Yeah.
take your pads off, bro. Like,
That shit
you're
was-
relaxed.
Nah,
and he was gonna go in the locker room. The reporter was waiting to get into the
Yeah.
locker room.
It was probably something else that pissed him off.
Yeah.
But that was like the last straw. He was like, let me go talk to this motherfucker.
Right,
right.
I'm not
And
wasting any more
and some
time.
reporters do not know what they're talking about. Like I think the reason Diggs was mad is he was in man coverage. Kittle had ran, so it was somebody else's man.
Yeah.
And he was trying to tackle him or not, and it looked like his effort wasn't great, but he was
Yeah.
on somebody else's. He had another man. So I get there was some misperception there, but the response was just hilarious.
Yeah.
Nah, that shit was jokes. That
The
shit
other
was-
topic you were talking about,
Yeah.
man, DB's had a week. So
It's real.
they did. Y'all had a week.
I'm gonna explain. All right, so Tyreek Stevenson,
yes.
Stevenson, he's DB for the Chicago Bears. The last play, this is Commanders versus Bears. You know, Jay Daniels, they're on their minus 48 or something like that. They got one more play, and so they're going into this Hail Mary formation.
Yep.
And as we've talked about before, DBs are usually the deep players on the field. I almost said it. The deep players in the field.
Hey, I was good this one.
Yeah, you know that. So Tyreek Stevenson, as we know now, per the coach and him, he was the box out player in the back of the end zone. But on the way back there, he's basically like antagonizing the fans, talking shit to the fans, like, going like this, because he's thinking the game is in the bag, right?
Yeah.
Set hut. The players are running. The offensive players are starting to run down the field. He still turns around, talking to shit to the fans. Then he realizes, oh shit, the play is going. Runs into the little mesh, the mosh pit of where all the players are, where they threw the ball. He jumps up to knock the ball down. It bounces off of his hand, and the guy that he's supposed to be boxing out right behind him catches it. Touchdown. Game over.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy to watch live.
Yeah, it was wild. It was wild. And I feel for Stevenson because, like, 99% of the time, it really does not matter what he was going to do on that play.
Does not matter.
But it happened to be this time. And if you guys watch the video, we're going to put the video up there. He was antagonizing the fans for a long time.
Yeah.
Long
Like,
time.
oh,
like
yeah.
the play, like
10 seconds before and probably like a good 3 or 4 seconds into the play.
receivers like almost at the 20-yard line.
Yeah.
By the time he's like, oh, okay, all right, let me hop into my role.
Right.
And then as you mentioned, he was supposed to have 85, Noah Brown, who caught the pass. I think he reacts late, jumps towards the ball, and it leaves him from right there. So he apologized to his team. One of those things where he probably just slipped in the moment. But man, he had to know. Talking about checking Twitter. I hope he didn't check Twitter this week.
Well, he tweeted after and he was like, I apologize for this and all that. But
No, he definitely.
yeah,
knew.
he definitely searched. He's like, oh.
I know
Turned
they
his
was on his ass.
notifications off.
Yeah, they was on,
off
and
Twitter.
it's Caleb versus Jaden, number 1, number 2.
Yeah.
It was to win the game. Last Hail Mary we were talking about Jets was like
Exactly,
halftime.
exactly.
This one, like, literally difference
Game
between a win and
winner.
a loss.
Was it Sunday night too? Was it
Sunday night, yeah.
Sunday, I think it was Sunday afternoon.
Sunday afternoon,
Yeah,
Oh, it was a late slot. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it was it was like a lot of eyeballs in the
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
regardless.
Right.
Yeah, because that's what it was. I was watching Red Zone.
Yep.
It was all the games that ended, so that was the only one
Right.
on. So then you had to just go to the local channel. So that's what I put it on. Caught like the last 2 minutes, saw the Bears take the lead. I'm like, holy shit, Bears are gonna win this game.
Yep.
And then that happened. And you're like, wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Last one for me, Dwayne Wade had a statue put up outside the Heat Arena, not too far from where we are.
Bad.
It did not look like Dwayne Wade.
At
I'll
all.
tell you my view. It looked like the 10 man from the Wiz.
I seen that.
There's
It looked
so
like
many
kind of
memes
looked like
that came out of
it looked kind of like Thanos without the extra chin.
Yeah,
like it looked
yeah,
like little Thanos view. What do you guys thoughts?
Bro's bad, bro. I put in the same category as the Cristiano Ronaldo
Yeah.
statue before he got his jaw redone
Yeah.
or whatever, his teeth redone. It was bad though, and Wade and his son are sitting there looking at it, and then they showed a clip of him like talking about it before they actually sculpted it, and it was just bad.
Wade obviously saw it beforehand. I mean, you
Like,
have to think like,
How did you approve that?
like, hey, can we fix this like just a tad? Like,
Yeah.
it's probably not gonna be perfect, but his face just doesn't look like him at all.
Yeah.
I see the statue, I'm like, how did you mess up that bad?
Yeah.
But he said it was a piece of art. He didn't really care for it to look like himself. He more wanted to capture the moment. But I'm like, you could do that. You can
Yeah.
capture the moment
Yeah.
and still make it look like you.
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
calling cap.
Yeah,
I'm calling cap.
I'm like,
'cause
I'm not sold.
Yeah.
You were talking about the video. I saw the video of him and his son looking at each other, and it was all about to look like, come on, bro. Like, I know there was some fire him up chats
sure, for
going
sure.
on in the car when they got back.
Oh my God. All his boys were texting him like, yo, what happened with the statue?
And it's you after a night out.
Yeah.
Look at that. So yeah, that was wild. That was wild. But
And it's like, it's a pretty big fucking moment.
it's
Yeah, like,
it
it's
is Wade. Like
Wade
he-
Boulevard.
Wade, right.
It's Dwayne Wade. He's the Marino of the Heat, basically, or he's up. He's like that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like. I mean, I was gonna say Alonzo Mourning's up there, UD's up there. Like, there's other guys, but Wade is Wade. You know, and that's how you do the revealing party of a statue that
That
looks
was
like that.
bad, man. That was
Yeah,
bad.
it's number one. So yeah, that was my Holland segment for the week. And so we'll say this: we did a fan giveaway last week. Shout out to the fan who won
Yes.
the Dolphins gift. This week we're not going to do a fan giveaway, but I did have one question for you, Vaughn. The question I always love to ask people: what was your welcome to the NFL moment?
I would say I have two. And I say I have two because one was like a physical moment, and then another one was like a personal, like, damn, like,
Yeah,
this shit's kind of dope. So
Yeah.
the first moment was we were playing the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I think it was like my fourth game or something like that. I got the nod to start that game. And so we're playing, playoff Lenny and Tom Brady, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown. Like, this team they won the Super Bowl that year. So I think it's like a third down or something like that. I'm in the post, and our linebacker has playoff Lenny in man-to-man. So, and he's a running back. So he gets out to the flat. My linebacker gets like picked or something like that, and I meet him on the sideline. Now, if you don't know Leonard Fournette, he's been bald since he was 18 years old. So obviously, you know what I'm saying,
he got some grit about him.
he got some grit, right? So I meet him on the sideline, bow, and I'm fighting. He's 250. I'm like 180, trying to get him out of bounds. Helmet's all up, my chin strap's on my face, and I finally put him out of bounds, and he almost ran me over. I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
This grown man. This grown man straight. All I could do was just buckle my chin strap and keep on moving. But that was like my welcome to the NFL moment just because he was huge. I do remember that play, actually. Yeah, he was huge. I got shook in the hole, too.
Oh, really?
I got shook in the hole by him. I was like coming straight down. He had just like got through the linebackers and he like made one cut because I'm thinking he's a one cut runner.
Yeah.
Made one cut and I'm going to make the tackle. He jump cuts the other way. Dropped to my knee. I was I had to play it off. I just like rolled over, got over, ran after him. But yeah, and then the second time was the same game. We were still in man. I was in the post, but it was like a low post, kind of to like our left side, offensive right. They're going towards their like towards the like big. They have like a boat on their stadium, and Antonio Brown catches an over route. Catches the over. The DB that was guarding him gets like bumped off or something. So I'm running after him. And as I'm running after him, he turns the corner, so I'm kind of in trail. And Antonio Brown is like fast as hell, right? So I'm running after him. He's like, I'm not catching him at all. Like he's way faster than me. He gets to the end zone. I'm the closest person to him. He like throws the ball on the ground, screams like, the cannon fires, boosh, boosh. Like growing up, like Antonio Brown, that was like one of my favorite players. So I'm like standing there and I'm looking and I catch myself and I'm like, that was fucking sick. I like so I walk away. I'm like, damn. Then I'm on punt. I'm on kickoff. I mean, field goal block. So I had to like stand where he's at. Yeah. He's like screaming. He's like, let's fucking go, dog. Screaming. I'm like, damn. That shit was so fucking cool. Yeah. But yeah,
he put that shit on.
That shit was dope, bro. Like, but I mean, obviously, I didn't want him to score, but I was like, damn.
Nah, but that's real. As you're a rookie, you're still
right.
Exactly.
Guys. Yeah, Tom Brady, I blitzed one play. Tom Brady was like, knew I was blitzing. He don't. First down, but it was like right at him when he threw the ball, and then I was like kind of walking next to him. I was like, "What's up, Tom Brady?" He was like, "Hey, Jevon." I was like,
"He knew my name. He knew my name."
I was like, "Now, is it because he's scouting, or does he actually know my name because he respects my game? Doesn't matter. He knows my name." So
exactly.
Nah, it was cool.
He's scouting, which means he respects. So
yeah,
facts. But
that's dope, man.
Yeah, bro. Like playing like, quarterbacks that have been in the league forever. As a rookie, like Tom was in the league longer than I was alive at one point, right?
Yeah.
So when we're in the week for scouting Tom, they're like, he's done literally everything. Like there's nothing that you can do that he hasn't seen. They're like, Jevon, he's been in the league longer than you've been alive.
Right.
Yeah. I was like,
that's crazy. When you like put it like that.
No, facts. Him, even A-Rod, like the first time I played him, like a guy that has seen so much ball that you're kind of just like, I'm gonna just go out there and react, like, because any type of, disguise or anything, like they've seen it all, so they're very well versed in how to attack. So
before we get it, I'm gonna kind of change up the Tranquilo thoughts today because we got, I guess, like a troll question for you from your boy Jason.
Okay, yeah,
let's do it.
So he wants to know, why is Miami and Cristobal going to beat Oregon in the playoffs?
Oh,
now I wasn't gonna get into this because I was arguing with him on the way here, but I will say this. Not everybody can be an Oregon Duck. There have been some that are Oregon Ducks that are no longer Oregon Ducks. But we're not number one for no reason. And we can't wait to see Cam Ward and the University of Miami Hurricanes. And we can't wait for Dan Lanning and Cristobal to match up. Because I'll tell you one thing, they don't make them how they used to. They make them newer, better, and improved. So I am looking forward to the Oregon Ducks smashing the University of Miami Hurricanes. And I can't wait.
That is a great way to end this week's Breaking House Rules.